No!
After Iran fired a large wave of missiles toward Israel, hitting several urban areas and military sites, the United States reacted within hours. U.S. cruise missiles struck an Iranian naval ship in the Persian Gulf, sending the vessel beneath the water. Additional strikes focused on oil storage sites along the Iranian shoreline. Massive fuel tanks exploded and flames could be seen from miles away. At the same time as the strikes, a full combat mobilization directive was issued across every military branch. All available units received orders to move into immediate combat readiness. At the airfield, the reaction can already be seen. Two CH-53 Sea Stallion heavy-lift helicopters rest on the flight line with their rotors spinning. Ground personnel stand clear of the powerful rotor wash. Inside the ready room, helicopter pilots prepare their equipment. They put on their flight suits, secure their survival vests, check their sidearms, and place their helmets on. Close to the helicopters, Marines have already formed into two separate groups, one assigned to each aircraft. They carry full combat gear: body armor, helmets, rifles, magazines, grenades, radios, water, and rations. When the command is given, the first team begins boarding the lead CH-53 through the side personnel door. At the same airfield, a CH-47 Chinook is being prepared for a different mission. Marines walk up the rear ramp and take seats inside the cargo compartment. Beneath the helicopter, ground crew attach an artillery gun to the external cargo sling, a towed howitzer that the Chinook will transport hanging below the fuselage. The rigging is inspected, the load is secured, and the helicopter lifts off with the artillery piece suspended underneath. It flies low across the landscape toward a military camp. As it approaches, the Chinook descends while the crew chief directs the pilots until the howitzer touches the ground. The sling is released, and the howitzer rests on the dirt. The helicopter then moves to a nearby landing point, touches down, and the Marines step off the ramp. They immediately move toward the howitzer piece, unload the ammunition that arrived with them, and start setting up the firing position. Trails spread outward, spades dug into the soil, sights attached, rounds stacked nearby. Everything prepared. As the evening begins to settle in, two more helicopters arrive at another forward position carrying additional Marines. The aircraft touch down in an open field, flat terrain with no structures and no cover anywhere nearby. The Marines step out and quickly spread across the area. Darkness is approaching rapidly. There are no tents, no shelters, and no permanent facilities at this location. This is a raw field position. The Marines establish a defensive perimeter, placing crew-served weapons at key points that cover the most likely approach routes. Some begin digging shallow fighting positions. Others arrange their equipment on the ground. Sleeping bags, ponchos, and ammunition placed within easy reach. They eat cold rations and drink water from their canteens. The temperature begins to drop. They prepare to spend the night on the open ground with nothing above them except the sky. Throughout the night, helicopters conduct multiple supply runs to the position. They arrive with lights out, navigating through night vision systems. Each incoming flight delivers more equipment. Crates filled with ammunition are unloaded. Additional anti-tank weapons arrive along with mortar tubes and mortar rounds. Cases of radio batteries and medical kits are stocked beside the growing supply area. During one of the later flights, lightweight tactical buggies are rolled down the rear ramp of a Chinook. The vehicles drive off the helicopter and are quickly moved to concealed locations beneath camouflage netting. Communication specialists begin assembling satellite antennas and establishing a connection with the command post. By the time the first sunlight appears on the horizon, the location has transformed from an empty patch of land into a functioning forward operating base, complete with vehicles, weapons, supplies, and communication systems. At first light, the Marines start moving out from the camp. They divide into squads and head toward their assigned sectors. Their first objective is reconnaissance. Teams advance through the terrain slowly and carefully, studying the surrounding environment. They identify natural cover, mark ridgelines, and note areas of dead ground that could hide enemy movement. Fields of fire and potential ambush locations are mapped out. Every observation is documented and transmitted back to the command element at the camp. Sniper teams move to elevated ground overlooking the surrounding area. They unpack their rifles, deploy bipods, and organize their equipment: spotting scopes, rangefinders, wind meters, and logbooks. One Marine positions himself behind the rifle while the second operates the spotting scope. They begin systematic observation of the terrain, scanning one sector after another, measuring distances to landmarks, identifying potential targets, and recording any movement they detect. Meanwhile, the infantry squads begin practicing combat drills. They rehearse bounding movement across open ground. One fire team advances while the other provides covering fire. Then the roles reverse. They practice building and room clearing procedures: stock at the door, breach, enter, clear corners, call out threats. They rehearse moving through low terrain by using wadis and ditches to stay concealed from observation. Every movement is done in a crouch or crawl. Speed and silence are the priority. Squad leaders observe each exercise closely, correcting mistakes and making the teams repeat the drills again and again until every Marine moves automatically, without hesitation, without unnecessary noise, and without exposing himself in the open. Fire teams also practice immediate action drills. They train for situations where they come under fire from the front, the flank, or from an ambush. They rehearse casualty evacuation procedures, learning how to drag a wounded Marine to cover while still maintaining return fire. Machine gun teams set up their weapons and identify primary and alternate firing positions. They practice shifting between those positions under simulated pressure. Once the exercises are complete, the Marines return to the camp. Weapons are cleaned, equipment is inspected, defensive positions remain maintained. They wait for the real order to arrive. When the combat alert finally sounds, every Marine will already know exactly what to do.
Got a couple announcements to make. For your convenience, we have a restroom in the back. Actually, hold on to the seats while the bus is in motion, so you would not fall between the aisles.